Hello, this is Jeff Altgilbers. I want to welcome you to my Facebook Live call tonight. I'm going live with Noah StJohn, provided we don't have a glitch. And for those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing, get that out right, network marketing for 40 years. And I share a lot of what I've learned on my journey on these calls. So I'm going to attempt, where is Noah? Don't tell me we're going to have a glitch night. Don't tell me that. Let me see. Yeah, Noah, if you're there, say, hey, man, bring me on. It shows sent. Noah, you have to accept it. I went live, and I don't see you here. I sent you an invitation to accept it. Hello, Debbie. Nice to see you. Roberto, what's up in New Jersey? Good to see you. Jenny, how you doing? Good to see you. Who else? Who else? Annyeonghaseyo in South Korea. Nice to see you. Karine in Belgium. You're up late, girl. Why are you up so late? Nice to have you. You're not sleeping, are you? Good to see you, though. And Miss Chavis from California, nice to see you. I'm just still waiting for Noah to show up. What can I say? Things happen. Move forward imperfectly. And I'll tell you what, today's been a cold day in Tennessee. Snow, wind, very cold. Rosia, nice to see you. Happy Tuesday to you. Good to see you. You're probably in a warmer climate, right? Okay, let's see if we can. I sent it to you. Are you sure you're on my page? Because I'm already live. Let's see if you, from Ecuador, Ivan, nice to see you. Yeah, I sent it to you, Noah. Good to see you. Oh, Noah's typing, which means he's not on my page. I don't know. Yes, I'm on your page. I'm on my PC, and I see you there, but nothing on my iPhone. If you have Facebook on your iPhone, you should be able to see me, but I would not have your PC next to your iPhone. Okay, it's going to be one of those nights, I don't know. We're going to have to get Noah to buy an iPad. That's all there is to it. Jackie in Manila, nice to see you. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I hope Noah's going to join us here in a minute. There we go. Noah's watching. Crap. Okay, let's see if we can get, it shows the invite. I sent it. Yeah, I can't send it again to you, Noah. That is so weird. So weird, so weird. That's Facebook. Glitches. Okay, you've been watching? Really? Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's frustrating, isn't it? Let's see. Allow your viewers to request to join you. Okay. Try to do a guest request, Noah. There we go. Let's see. No, it doesn't allow. Doesn't allow Noah StJohn for some reason. I guess it doesn't like your device. Okay. Well, sorry about that, everybody. We're just trying to make this work. Okay, he's going to log out and come back in again. So we're going to try to see if we can bring him on. And it's weird, you know, because I can add certain people on this page, but no, I can't. Okay. Interesting. Well, you know what? I am so happy that when I started almost 21 years ago in my last company, I didn't have to go through this crap. We just picked up the phone, talked about what we were doing, and we signed them up. Okay, hang on. Now we're gonna hang on. Approve. Now let's see. He's coming, I think. Noah is coming. It was worth the wait, guys. It was worth the wait.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That was easy. And of course, guess what? I did it on my Pixel. So there, iPhone.
Really?
iPhone, again, let us down, but good old Pixel. Of course, it makes me look weird here. I look very strange. I'm really not this large, guys. I'm not wide like that. I look weird. Hey!
No, and it did something for your hair.
Yeah, my hair looks great, doesn't it? Now, Jeff, I got to tell you this. Look at this. I did this just for you, baby. Look at this. My Tom Brady t-shirt, MVP.
Oh, man. Look
You see
at
this?
that. You're going to get a
This is a collector's item.
Call.
I mean, look at this. This is from the first Super Bowl that he won. You see this?
Wow.
Boom. I don't even think he...
Right now, he needs the Gronk, you know. He needs Gronkowski really bad right now.
Yeah, you think? And he needs an O-line, too. That would be nice.
Yeah, you know, there's some struggling there, man. And
not looking good.
Yeah.
Hey, but we're here. I did. All right, so now look at this. Now we know it's the Pixel that works, and forget the iPhone.
Yeah. So put it in your notes, and that's what we're going to go with the next time. So
I knew it would work.
We're going to get into this. So for those of you that, if you don't know Noah's such an awesome guy. I first met him at Ray Higdon's, one of his events. And that's how I got to know about Noah, was through Ray. So awesome guy, but he's had so far 15 books, including his new book, Power Habits. That's the backward version of it.
And there's my backward.
Noah's got a copy too. I can't believe he reads his own stuff. Anyway, Power Habits, the backward version of it. You can get the frontward version at same price. Anyway, but so 15 books, including the Power Habits, and it's about the new science of making success automatic. Noah StJohn is known as the Power Habits mentor and is famous for helping people get rid of their head trash. There's a lot of head trash in network marketing, and make more money. So Noah is the only author in history who has been published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon and Schuster, Mind Valley, Nightingale, Conant. Boy, they've been around a long time. And the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. He also appears frequently in news worldwide, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Parade Magazine, Entrepreneur.com, and the Huffington Post. You can get a $299 or get up to $299 in free gifts when you order that book, Power Habits, at powerhabitsbook.com. That's powerhabitsbook.com. So we'll welcome Noah StJohn. So 15 books now, finally. And so why this book and why now?
Well, you know, Jeff, it's really been a privilege to be doing the work that I'm doing now, helping entrepreneurs like all the folks watching, helping entrepreneurs add 6 and 7 and even 8 figures to their business. I've helped people in network marketing to add millions and millions and millions of dollars. Also real estate and health So literally dozens of professions all around the world, over 120 countries so far. And what people keep asking me, they keep saying, hey, Noah, I hear you're the guy that people come to after they've gone to all the gurus. I hear you're the guy that helps people get unstuck. I hear you're the guy that helps people get rid of head trash so I can make more money. So how do I do this? I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like there's too much information. I have too much to do and not enough time. So, can you help me with that? So really that's the purpose of this book, Jeff, the backwards book, but we do have it frontwards too. But I mean, it really is all about helping people to get rid of that head trash and allow themselves to succeed. Because I want to start off our conversation today with a quote that I really, really love. That's very powerful. Whether I'm speaking at network marketing conferences like Ray's and ANMP and, all those great conferences that you and I have, gone to, and of course we speak at, or whether I'm doing my own live events like Freedom Lifestyle Experience or working with coaching clients, one of the things that I often say that is that we don't rise to the level of our goals, we sink to the level of our systems. Okay, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We all have big goals, right? We want to, here we are, we're coming up on the end of the decade. It's going to be a new decade in just a few weeks, which is shocking, isn't it? But I mean, literally, it's here we are, right? So we're all setting goals. We've got high expectations, and you want those. But the problem is that that's not going to do it. Goals are not enough. They're a great starting point. We humans are goal-oriented organisms, but that's not enough. We've got to have the systems in place so that you can have the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money that you want. And that's really what Power Habits is all about, my Power Habits system.
So, all right. So when you talk about systems, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that we talk about, at our live events and our coaching and our keynote speeches is that really what we all want as entrepreneurs, right? And I know all the folks watching here are either, full-time entrepreneurs or maybe part-time and just getting started or really wanting to grow that and have that be your full-time business, your full-time income. So one of the things we talk about is that we want to live what we call a freedom lifestyle, right? A freedom lifestyle. And, maybe you've heard that term before or maybe even thought about it in that way. But one of the things that I like to do is really break that down very specifically into 4 specific elements or systems, okay? So the first element is the element of time, right? So we hear this so often, and I'm sure you hear it from your people, Jeff, and, maybe the leaders watching, this program, but, you hear it all the time. No, I'm so busy. I've got too much to do. I don't have enough time. And, time is just a really, really precious resource. Now, the thing, of course, reason we start with time is that time is the one resource we can never replace, right? All of Bill Gates' billions can't buy 1 minute of yesterday, right? So the point is, time is, in fact, the most valuable resource. But what's so sad and funny is we don't treat it like that, right? Most people tend to go through life thinking we'll live forever, which, of course, we don't. I mean, I just recently had I don't mean to say this lightly, but I recently had a brush with death on the highway. I was driving on the highway late at night. I mean, I had just actually come home from teaching my mastermind group and in Las Vegas, and we flew home to Cleveland. And, it was about 2 a.m. when our flight arrived. And I was driving on the road, and I swear to God, a car was coming right at us. We were going eastbound. It was a 4-lane highway, and there was a car coming right at us going westbound in the eastbound lane, right in my lane. And in literally less than 3 seconds, that could have been the end. And fortunately, I grew up in Maine, so, it was kind of wet, snowy conditions there. And I was able to respond and react fast enough. And, of course, we got out of the way. But I mean, a head-on collision at highway speeds, you're not walking away from that. So the point is, this just happened a few days ago. So I had a very visceral experience of the fact that, my gosh, tomorrow isn't guaranteed for any of us. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. My point being is that time is a very, very crucial element that, most of us tend to take for granted. So that's the first element. The second element or system is energy, right? Energy is so important because if you have $1 million and you don't have any energy, well, then that's not freedom. That's not abundance, right? So there are 2 kinds of energy. There's positive energy and negative energy. Positive energy is when you're feeling grateful, you're feeling that joy, that happiness, and that exudes just to everyone around you, like you, Jeff, and other leaders that you have on your team, have that kind of great energy. But then, of course, you have people who have the negative energy, the frustration, the anger, the envy, jealousy, the resentment, whatever those kind of negative emotions or energy So the point is, it's really, really important that you master how to go through, literally, how do you go through your day with that positive energy? The third element is relationships. Our relationships are so crucial because, if you're in a business, last time I checked, you're going to be selling to human beings, right? And with a name like Noah, I know that orangutans and dolphins do not carry credit cards. So, you got to have you're dealing with human relationships, right? And so notice there's two kinds of relationships. There's personal relationships and business relationships. So you could be doing really well, let's say in your personal life, but maybe your business is struggling or you're stuck, or vice versa. Your business is going great, but maybe your personal life is suffering. So it's not just cookie cutter, one size fits all. You got to really look at those relationships. And then the fourth element or system is, of course, money, right? Money is very, very important here on earth. Last time I checked. Now, as the great philosopher David Lee Roth said, money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you a yacht to pull right up next to it. So yeah, money's important. I mean, anybody who says money is important probably doesn't have any. So when you look at those four systems of time, energy, relationships, and money, that's really when you master those, when you put those together, that's when you have what we call the freedom lifestyle.
Right. Good. Good. Okay, so I'm glad you answered that one on the systems. I was like, what systems now? Because networkers, when we think systems, we think autoresponders or Facebook Lives or Facebook groups or
And those are
awesome.
Those are all fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with those things you mentioned, and we could talk about that when we talk about inner game and outer game, if you want.
So here's the thing, another, besides this book, in your previous books and live events, you talk about head trash, and
Right.
Maybe that's the number one reason why people are stuck. So some of the friends here may not know what head trash is. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, absolutely. So head trash, and really, I've written 15 books about how to get rid of your head trash. One of them was called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money, but really that's what Power Habits, if you really drill it down, that's a big, big, big part of what I do. And one of the reasons that I've helped people make billions of dollars, literally over $2.7 billion, my coaching clients have added over the last 20 plus years. So meaning I've helped people like the folks watching add six figures, multiple six figures, seven, and even eight figures. And a big, big reason is this whole concept of head trash. So your head trash is that voice in your head that says, I can't do it because dot, dot, dot. And then you just fill in the blank, right? So we hear this all the time, like at my live events, which by the way, my live events, they're called Freedom Lifestyle Experience for this very reason. We want you to have that freedom, the experience of that freedom lifestyle. But so, one of the things we hear at our live events or even in my coaching or in my keynote speeches, people come up to me afterwards, they say, Noah, this all sounds great, but I can't do it because I don't have the time. Or I can't do it because I don't have the right experience. Or I can't do it because I didn't go to the right college. Or I can't do it because I'm married and I have kids and I'm really busy. Or I can't afford it. Or I didn't go to the right college. Or, because I'm divorced or blah, 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 right? So we all, and we all hear these excuses as leaders, we hear these excuses all the time and, we just hear the same things over and over. But here's what I want you to realize, folks, everyone listening, friends, is that you always make yourself right. See, this is one of the biggest dangers of head trash. It's not the fact that you have it. I mean, that's bad enough. But the fact is that we humans have an almost infinite capacity to make ourselves right. If you don't believe me, put a Republican and a Democrat in the same room and have them watch a political speech, or have a Patriots fan and a Giants fan watching the Patriots Giants game. Or you get my point, right? So the point is, we all think we're right, but this is one area where you don't want to be right, right? I mean, your head trash, right? So for example, we have people that say, well, no, yeah, I really want to do this. I want to grow my business. I want to make more money. I want to have more time with my family and all this, but I just don't have the time. And I say, okay, that's interesting. Now, you do realize that, leaders like Jeff here and even leaders like Bill Gates and Mark Cuban and people like that, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? Nobody has more time or less time than you. Time is actually irrelevant. That has nothing to do with time. And that goes back to the point I was making earlier, which is that we don't rise to the level of our goals. We sink to the level of our systems. So that's why the systems are so crucial, because I want to have this money, this freedom, this whatever. But if you're saying to yourself you don't have the time, I want you to realize, friends, everybody who's listening to this and watching this program, you're really lying to yourself. Okay, that's a lie that you may believe, but it's not true. And so you've got to be able to, and that's, one of the things we go through in the book and in the trainings and in the live events is we actually break this down so that you can stop believing the lies that you're telling yourself. Because there's a great quote that I love from Will Rogers, the American humorist and author. And he had a great quote. He said, "It ain't what a man don't know that gets him in trouble. It's what he knows that ain't so." Right? So how many things do we know? Oh, Noah, I know this won't work for me. I know I can't do it. I know this and I know that. How many things do you know that ain't so and that are holding you back right now?
That's right. Well, that's probably a lot of people that come in this business in network marketing, because they it's like they look for these reasons because they have a reason for it.
That's right. That's right. It's easier to have the excuse than to do the work to get the result, right? So we have to, on this planet Earth, we have to do this annoying thing called work to get a result. All the top leaders like you and the Higdons and, all the people like that, the speakers who speak at A&MP and all these great events, they put in the work because they maybe had that head trash, that same voice that said, well, I probably can't do it. They're probably not going to answer the phone. Oh, they probably won't listen to me. Who's going to pay attention? But you did the work anyway, right? And so that's one of the reasons, or one of the things we talk about all the time in the Power Habits book and at our live events is how to actually do that, how to break through that head trash and get rid of it so that you can start to have the results you want in your life.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they wait until they feel like they're ready to do it. I don't feel like doing it. I remember one time I was in New Zealand with my sponsor, and I said, "Hey Dave, let's do a Facebook Live call." He said, "I don't feel like it." I said, "What's that got to do with it?"
Right. Exactly.
Just do it.
Well, it's like Ray Higdon, our mutual friend, our dear friend, always says. I love when he says this because I think it helps a lot of people when he points this out. He said, "I never wanted to do a recruiting call. Not one single time did I want to make a call, and I did it anyway." See, that's a great example of what I teach in the Power Habit system. Is exactly how to do that. That's the type of mindset, that's the type of habits that you need to develop if you want to actually get the results. Nobody really feels like doing the work.
Right.
I shouldn't say nobody, but frequently we don't, hey, you'd rather, sit around and watch TV or whatever it might be. But the leaders find a way because their why to is stronger than the reasons not to.
Yes. Yes. And then they see us go across stages and they say, "Oh, superstars." I'm like, what are you talking about? We just did what we didn't want to do.
Right. Exactly.
You just don't want to do it yet. I've said this before that, if you're not at the rank position you want to be, it's only because you don't want to do it yet.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, that was it.
There's just a slight delay here, so I didn't mean to cut you off. But that goes back to the concept that I talk about, all the time. We talk about a lot in the book, in the live events, in the coaching, which is inner game and outer game. Okay, this is a really, really key concept that I really wanted to share with your folks here and with the people watching. So if you think about any human endeavor, right? So everybody wants to have more time, more energy, better relationships, and more money. The things I talked about earlier, right? So in order to do that, there's really only two things we need to do. I mean, it sounds crazy, but really there's only two things. And it all boils down to the two components or two elements of any human endeavor. And that is the inner component and the outer component. Now, the inner component, we just call it at my company, at my events and in the books, we call it the inner game, right? The inner game, right? So what is the inner game? The inner game of success, or the inner game of money, you could even say, the inner game of business, right? Well, the inner game is everything that happens between your ears that you can't see directly, but you see the effects of it everywhere. So let me give you an example. At my live events and in my keynote speeches, one of the things I'll often say to my audiences is I'll say, okay, what is one area of your life where your beliefs don't affect you? And people will go like this, and they'll think, and they'll scratch their head and go, And I'll go, exactly. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you, right? They affect everything, right? So think about it. Do your beliefs affect your health? Absolutely. Do your beliefs affect your finances, your business? Of course. Do your beliefs affect your relationships, your social life, your family life, right? How happy or unhappy you are. I mean, everything. There's no place in your life where your beliefs don't affect you. And also notice this, you can be doing really well in one area and maybe stuck or struggling in another. For example, maybe your business is going really well, but maybe your health is suffering. Or maybe your relationships are doing really well, but your business is stuck. See, so it's not cookie cutter, one size fits all. It's really very personalized, very customized for each individual, right? But when you look at it in that way, there's no place where your beliefs don't affect you, right? And I'll give you a quick example of that in just a second. But then in addition to the inner game, we also have the outer game. Right now, the outer game is everything you can see. It's right in front of your face, right? So that goes back to the point you made earlier, Jeff, about your landing pages, your lead magnets, your auto responders, and all that stuff. You got to have all that stuff, right? That's outer game. So what happens is that most people who are stuck or struggling in their business or their life are doing one of two things. Either they haven't been taught how to master their inner game, which is 99% of people. Number two, they have not really put in the systems to master their outer game, which is about 90% of people, or it's some combination of those two. So let me give you a quick example. I was at one of my, well, actually, I was speaking at a conference for one of the world's largest network marketing companies, a multi-billion-dollar company. And a woman came up to me afterwards and said, no, I really loved your talk. And, she says, I want to sign up with you. And I said, okay. Now, at first, she was very skeptical. She'd like heard it all before. We hear this all the time, right? We've heard it all before. And, again, I understand that because, basically all the motivational speakers out there, they all are saying the same thing. They're basically saying the same thing, which is work hard and set your goals and get motivated and all that stuff. I mean, we've heard it a million times. So, she was kind of skeptical. We found out later that she had spent over $30,000 on all those gurus out there, and still wasn't, she was making about $5,000 a month in group sales. So 5,000 a month, which is pretty good, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, wow, 5,000 a month, that's really good. But she wanted to do a lot more, and she'd already invested a lot of time and money and effort, but was really still stuck. So she ended up joining what we have a program called Power Habits Academy, and she joined that Power Habits Academy and also came to one of our live events we call Freedom Lifestyle Experience. And anyway, I was able to work with her for a period of about 6 months as, coach her. And long story short, by the end of that year, she went from making $5,000 a month in group sales to over $75,000 a month in sales. That's a 15 times increase, 1,500% in less than a year. Now you go, that's impossible, right? I mean, well, no, I mean, you can go to my website and watch her video. I mean, I actually interviewed her of how she did it. So you can go to our website and just, literally watch the video where I interviewed her. But the bottom line, Jeff, is what I'm getting at for all the folks watching is that's what it really took. We had to drill down to her inner game. What was her head trash that was holding her back? And we were able to get rid of that using my Power Habit system. And then we were also able to install the outer game system. So she had all the marketing stuff going as well. So, what we see is that if somebody has spent a lot of time in their inner game, but not really mastered their outer game, that's what you call a very highly evolved broke person, right? Maybe they watch The Secret 37 times and they go, hey, Noah, I watched The Secret 37 times. Where's my $1 million? I'm like, well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, if we didn't have to do any work and, the money just poured in, that would be awesome. But it doesn't work that way, sadly, on the earth. And then, of course, when you have the outer game, maybe the person's doing really well in their outer game, but they haven't really looked at their inner game. That's when you see things like self-sabotage. And, this, frankly, you see this in celebrities all the time. People like John Belushi, Elvis Presley, even Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had it all and he sabotaged it because he really didn't master his inner game and so forth. So there's lots of examples of that. So anyway, the point is inner game and outer game. And that, that's why we've helped people make so much money, Jeff, is because of literally drilling down into those systems and helping people install it.
Interesting. So then also in this book, everyone, again, the book, Power Habits.
Boom.
Talking about power habits now. So you talk about the connection between habits and money. What's the hidden connection and why is it important?
Well, really, that goes back to the point of what I was just making about inner game and outer game. See, people, like I just said a moment ago, one thing that really trips people up about this whole phenomenon of money is all the misinformation out there, all the myths that are out there. For example, the ones that are peddled by the gurus out there. Hey, how's it going? Who do we have back there?
He's got something stuck in his ear.
All right, how you doing? I saw that.
AirPods on. I'm like, son, have a conversation with me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know. No problem at all. So the point is that, there's so much misinformation out there. And, like I just said, a big one is, well, you just think about what you want and the money. This is one of the worst myths I've ever heard. And I know we've all heard this. Everyone watching this program has heard this. Do what you love and the money will follow. No, it won't. No, it absolutely will not. That is such a lie, right? But it's sexy, right? It's easy, right? It's what we all want to hear. It's why
I have a friend that I remember when she's a great artist. She does what she loves, but she was a struggling artist. How many struggling musicians that are great musicians out there, right? They're doing what they love, but they're all broke.
Because of this whole concept of inner game and outer game that I'm sharing with you, that we talk about in the book and in our events. And so the point is that I always give this example and people laugh because I say, well, listen, I love going to the library. That's one of my favorite things to do. So you're going to pay me for that? I'm going to make a lot of money going to the library, right? And everybody goes, well, no. And I'm like, exactly. Why would you pay me for that? No, why? Because there's no value in it to you, the person, I just didn't, but I love it. So where's my money? You see what I mean? So it doesn't work that way at all. Here's the truth. Do what you love. Yes, that part's right. Do what you love, but then you've got to show other people why, how, and that they will benefit from you doing what you love. And then the money follows. You see?
Yes.
But what I just said isn't sexy at all, right? That's hard to sell, right? Nobody wants to hear that. It's sexy to say, do what you love and the money follows. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Hitting some chords with it, maybe it'll come together, but
right, exactly. Anyway, so that's the point, is there's that part that they didn't want to tell us because it's not sexy. So when you look at inner game and outer game, what I was sharing earlier, that's really the hidden connection. I call it the hidden connection between your habits, your inner game and your outer game, which is the money, right? That's where the money is going to show up. So the sad part is it's not enough to think positive. It's not enough to set your goals. It's not enough to have vision boards. Those are all great starts. It's a great place to start, but it's exactly like you draw a blueprint of a house and you go, great, I'm going to sleep in my house now. Well, no, you've only got a two-dimensional blueprint. You don't have a house yet. You got to build the thing and then you can sleep in it. And of course, the analogy is your business is like a house. You've got to have the inner component, which would be like the electricity. Right? If you don't have the electricity in your house, you've got a building that's pretty, cold in the winter and hot in the summer, right? But if you only have electricity and no house, well, then you still don't have a house, right? So that's why it takes both inner game and outer game to have the thing called success.
Right. And so I know this, that people that even achieve a success, okay, they get the very thing they want, and then they blow it. They just do things. I mean, I know somebody that makes over $1 million a year and has made that for many years, but doesn't even own a house, doesn't even own a car. This person is just as broke now as when he started in his company many years ago, just as broke.
Wow.
And that's an inner game issue, isn't it?
Well, it really is. And I think it's the person you've mentioned before in our conversations.
Yeah.
And you got to get him to me. And I got to coach this guy because I could fix him so quickly. I got this. I've been doing this for 20 years. So send him over and I'll fix him up. But I mean, really, yes, the answer to your question is yes, it's absolutely an inner game issue, number one. And number two, I can totally fix that because I've fixed it for thousands of people, countless thousands. I don't know how many thousands of people over the last 20 years. But yeah, I mean, this is not to toot my own horn, but people say to me all the time, Noah, your training is the only training that fixes every other training. And, that's not me saying it, that's my client saying it, because, so many people come to our live events, they come to Freedom Lifestyle Experience, or they book me to speak at their conferences, their network marketing company, their annual conferences or regional conferences. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so different. I never heard anyone say this. I've had people just come up to me right after my live events and hire me on the spot to coach them. And, then we're able to grow their business, like Sheila, like I told you, I mean, 15 times in less than a year. I mean, we've definitely helped people double, triple, quadruple their income. We do that frequently. And literally it is because of the inner game and outer game systems. And I'll just repeat this because it's not cookie cutter, right? Their systems work. But it's just like building a house. A house is pretty straightforward, but everybody's house is different, right? Jeff, you have, of course, that beautiful home in the mountains there. I've got a beautiful home here in Northeast Ohio, but it's still a house, but it's very, very unique and different for each individual.
That's right. So then, now you talk about, and again, for those of you joining, we're talking about Power Habits, Noah's St. John's new book. So in here, you also talk about the 4 elements of a freedom lifestyle. What, could you elaborate on that?
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So that goes back to the idea of the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money that I was talking about and describing earlier. So here's what I want everybody to do. In fact, all of you can do this right now. This is one of the places, one of the exercises that I love to do at our live events at Freedom Lifestyle Experience. But you can do this right now, right where you're sitting, everybody watching, which is look at those 4 elements that I talked about, the time, energy, relationships, and money, and rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. All right, meaning how stuck or how abundant do you feel in each area, right? So in the example of time, for example, you would rate yourself, if you're always saying to yourself, well, Noah, I'd love to do this, but I don't have the time, right? I'm so busy. I've got a million and one things to do. I've got too much to do in too little time, right? If you catch yourself saying that, well, then you'd probably rate yourself on like a 1 or a 2, meaning I feel pretty stuck in this area of time. And of course, if you have lots of time, like I just was interviewed on Entrepreneur on Fire recently, and the host, John Lee Dumas, is a dear friend of mine. This is my 3rd interview with him, and he said he just got back from a 90-day vacation, where he traveled to Fiji and all around the world, and he worked about an hour a day, and he's still making 6 figures a month. That's pretty good use of time, right? So that would be like a 10, you know what I mean? So just rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 and just go through each element that I talked about, time, energy, relationships, and money. Rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. And then if you notice that you're maybe at, I would say, a 6 or below in any of those areas, well, number 1, you need to get the Power Habits book because we can get you started on that right away. And then also, by the way, I wanted to let you all know that when you get the Power Habits book through that website that Jeff mentioned earlier, powerhabitsbook.com, we're also, because you're here watching this right now, we've never done this before, Jeff, and you don't even know I'm going to do this, but we're going to give everyone watching 2 tickets to my upcoming live event, my Freedom Lifestyle Experience. I've already mentioned it a few times now. The tickets sell for $997. When you go to the website, you'll see it's $997. But because you're here watching this program, because Jeff is such a dear friend and been such a great supporter of mine for years, we want to do something really special tonight. And that is, so when you go to powerhabitsbook.com, all you got to do is when you push click the link or, tap the button, and it'll take you to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and you can just order the book and then go back to the page, go back to powerhabitsbook.com, enter your order information, and then we're going to give you some special bonuses, including 2 tickets to my upcoming live event.
Wow. Wow. That is totally awesome. And where is this event?
The next one coming up is going to be in Las Vegas. So we rotate between Las Vegas and Orlando. So the one coming up at the time of this recording is in Las Vegas. But, we will honor this for as long as you want to keep this interview up, on your site.
Well, so, I think we might just have this going on for another 2 hours tonight.
Well, I mean that if people come in later, we'll still honor it because, you've been such a dear friend and a great supporter, Jeff.
Replays. Okay. Everybody share this and yeah, okay, good. So awesome. And when is that event coming up? When?
So this next one coming up at the time of this recording is April 24th and 25th. Okay. So that'll be in Las Vegas. So it's a 2-day. And so that's why we call it Freedom Lifestyle Experience, because on day 1, I teach you how to master your inner game. We start with inner game, right? Because that's where 90% of success is, right here. And this is why I've helped people make so much money, is the systems that happen in your head, right? So that's day 1 is inner game mastery. And day 2 is outer game mastery, right? So like I said earlier, and I say this a lot because it's so crucial and people need to hear it, is that it's only when you master your inner game and outer game, when you put them together, that's when you have the phenomenon called success. And so there's really no place in the world, there's no other event where you can get this system of inner game mastery and outer game mastery in 2 transformational days. Again, I'll just give you the website. It's freedomlifex.com. You can go see for yourself and look at the tickets there, freedomlifex.com. But don't get your tickets there. Go to powerhabitsbook.com, get your book, and then when you put in the information there, we'll send you the coupon code to get your 2 tickets for free. So meaning you can bring, you and a guest can come for free to Freedom Life X instead of paying the full price.
Cool. Oh, folks, this is awesome. You are awesome to offer this. All right.
My pleasure.
Then, also in the book, question here, what does it mean to be unconsciously competent at success?
Right, absolutely. So this is one of the really, really exciting things that when people learn this, they just get so excited, Jeff. They just literally, sometimes we have grown men in tears sometimes at my seminars because some of these things have, we've been holding on to, many of us have been holding on to our head trash for years or even decades. And when you're able to get rid of it, it can be very emotional. It can be, but also very transformational, right? I mean, meaning helping people to add 6 and 7 and 8 figures to their business. That's pretty transformational, with doubling, tripling, quadrupling their income and so forth. I mean, it's transformational results. So, when you look at.
Oh, no, that didn't happen. That did not happen. Not tonight. Come back, Noah. Folks, hang on. Ah, that happens. Hang on. Just come back. Do what you did before. Okay, interesting. I think it's interesting that he's offering 2 free tickets to his event coming up. So he was almost finished, and he'll be back here in just a second. Oh, I don't know, Mindy, that he does that. But that's a good question. NLP, yeah. I can ask him that when he comes back. Hopefully he'll be back. He says he's trying. He's trying. Let me see if I can find him. Let's see, viewers. Oops. Viewers, I don't see you, Noah. Raise your hand, Noah. Hang on. Raise your hand. Okay, let me see if I can. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, I think he's coming back.
Jeez.
Okay, we're back.
Jeez.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
The algorithm's got a problem with you.
Jeez. Come on, man. Oh my goodness.
My good friend Mindy was asking, do you do NLP at your events?
Well, Mindy, that's a great question. And here's my answer. And some people aren't going to like it, but that's too bad, which is that we passed NLP about 20 miles back. NLP is fine, nothing wrong with it, but my stuff just crushes NLP. Again, nothing wrong with it. Just we passed it 20 miles back. So it just takes all that into account, and it's just so much better. That's all I got to say. Again, and that's not me saying it. That's my client saying it. So yeah, again, I'm very familiar with NLP. Nothing wrong with it. We just crush it.
Okay, so go to the event and you'll know why. So I guess, but we were talking about what does it mean to be unconsciously competent?
Unconsciously competent. Yes, indeed. Okay, yeah. Let's see if I can finish my thought here. Okay, so when we look at any human task or habit, we go through 4 stages of competency. Now, those 4 stages are, number 1, or phase 1, is unconsciously incompetent. That means you don't know you don't know. The second phase is consciously incompetent. That means you know you don't know. Then we get to consciously competent, which means you know. And the final stage is unconsciously competent, which means you do without thinking. So the example I always give at my live events,
Repeat that.
what?
I couldn't repeat that.
It's in the book. It's right there. It's right in
Oh,
chapter
I'm
3.
glad you got it written down. Okay.
Oh, it's all written down. It's all right in chapter 3. Anyway, so my point is, the example I always give at my live events and at my keynote speeches is driving a car, right? So, for example, we all went through the stage of unconscious incompetence, which means you don't know how to drive a car. Nobody comes out of the womb and goes, "Hey, where's my car?" Right? That's impossible, right? So you don't even know you don't know. Then you get to the second stage, which is you know you don't know how to drive a car. You're like 8 or 12 years old. You're like, man, I want to get away from my parents, but how do you drive a car? I don't know how to drive a car. Rats! I gotta go get away from these people, right? So that's the second stage. The third stage is consciously competent. That means you took driver's ed and you're like, now I know how to drive a car. I got a license that says yes, I can drive. And now, of course, you're unconsciously competent. Most of the folks watching this program, you're unconsciously competent at driving a car, meaning you do without thinking. In fact, that's what saved my life in that experience I share with you. Thank goodness if I'd had to think about it, I'd probably be dead because I wouldn't have had time. I literally did it in a split second, and I moved and I didn't crash and I didn't die. I'm like, thank you, God. I mean, that was amazing. So do you understand? That's an example. But think about it. There's dozens of things that we humans do every day without thinking. Tying your shoes, getting dressed, brushing your teeth, and talking, reading, so forth. Right. So literally dozens, maybe hundreds of things every day. But here's the point, Jeff, that I want to get at. We go into great depth about this in the book and in the live event, which is this: highly successful people, what I call the naturals of success, or the 2%ers, right? Because if you look at just the earth, if you look at life, 98% of the wealth is held by 2% of the people. I mean, that's just fact. That's math, right? And 2% of the people hold 98% of the wealth, right? We've heard the 80-20 rule. Well, it's really 98 too, meaning 2% hold 98. But the point is, so I call those people the naturals of success. Well, what's funny about the naturals is that they have become unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. Okay. Now I know that's a big sentence right there, but it's really very simple. When I just showed you or explained the 4 levels or phases of competency, from unconsciously incompetent to unconsciously competent. So when you become unconsciously competent at something, you usually don't even know what you're doing, meaning you're doing it without thinking. And so I've interviewed over 200 highly successful people, millionaires, multimillionaires, the titans of industry. And in every single case, with almost no exceptions, they have become that way because they have become unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. That's one of the reasons when you study my book, when you study Power Habits, or when you come to my event, you'll realize that a big part of my work is to level the playing field, meaning that many of my clients say, Noah, your work is the only work that allows us to bridge the gap between the haves up here, the 2%ers, and the rest of the world, right? Because that was, and Jeff, I know you know my story a little bit, but very briefly, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and it really was so aggravating to me, and it hurt me so much, and it made me so angry that my parents worked so hard and they could never get ahead. They never had money. And yet right down the street, I saw people who weren't working very hard and seemed to have a lot of money, a lot of wealth and abundance. I said, what's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. So that's really a big part of the work that I do, is to level the playing field so the rest of us can enjoy the success rather than just the people at the very top.
Very good. Now, Tamara was just asking if you purchase the Audible book, do you still get the 2 tickets? The answer is yes.
Absolutely. Now we're actually, the answer is yes. And you know what's so awesome is we have right now, your timing is perfect, everyone watching this, because we have a 99-cent deal on the Audible book. Is only 99 cents. So you're getting a ridiculous deal. You get that plus the tickets. And that's gonna end in a very short number of days. So do not put this off. Make sure you get it right now if you do like I mean, personally, I don't know about you, but I do like the hardcover book. I like to have the book so I can write in it and go back and reference it. But of course, that's a personal preference. But again, I'll just reiterate that yes, it works with, or the deal is good for the Audible too, and it's just 99 cents right now. But that 99-cent deal will be ending soon.
So Mindy asks, how does this work with someone with a traumatic past?
Well, that's a great question, Mindy. And you know what? So many of us have traumatic pasts. mentioned earlier, that I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. I'm not saying that's awful. I mean, many, many millions of people had it much, much worse than I did, and I'm fully cognizant of that. And so I do help people get through trauma. We have a lot of men and women, and also we have kids come to our events as well. We have teenagers that come, 11 years old, 15 years old, 18 years old. So your teenagers are welcome to come with you as well. And because of this deal, they can come for free as well. So we have, your family, they just have to be between the ages of 11 and 19. They have to be actual teenagers, to get this deal. But for people with traumatic past, to be blunt, I just put most human beings in that category. I think most human beings, most people that you meet have had some kind of trauma in their past. So really, that's what's really awesome about the Power Habit system is it really it can help you too, no question about it.
Daisy asks, is there a difference between Noah's work and research and Rich Dad, Poor Dad of Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, Kiyosaki's work is excellent. It's one of my favorite books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. To be blunt, they're completely different. A lot of people I'm sure have read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what many people have said about my work is that my work starts where Napoleon Hill's left off, which is, I'm very humbled by that when people say that. So the point is that, Napoleon Hill and even Kiyosaki to an extent surveyed and interviewed a lot of rich, successful people, hence Rich Dad, right? And say, well, what did you do? What did you do? Well, I did this and this and this. Okay, well, you do this, this, and this, and you'll become successful. Yeah, but they left out all the good stuff. In fact, they left out all the parts that they're unconscious at. That's what I was just talking about a moment ago, right? So they're not saying anything wrong or bad. It's just that's why so many people have read all those books and they're still stuck. So most, we hear this all the time is that people come to my events or they hire me as their coach after they've tried all the gurus and they're still stuck. Like Sheila, who I mentioned earlier, I spent $30,000 on all these gurus out there, and she really wasn't experiencing any growth until she went through my program.
Wow, awesome. Good stuff. So, what makes your programs different from all the other business and personal growth programs out there?
You know what? I think the main difference, and there's really no other way to say this, is because you're working with the nerdiest nerd in the industry, and that's me. I'm just the nerdiest nerd, and what I mean by that is I have to understand how everything works. I have to get down to the molecular level because I read every book out there. I didn't talk a lot about my story tonight in this interview, but I read every book out there for years and years and years. I studied it because I hated being poor. I hated that life of poverty and I wanted to get out of it. And so I read every book, every personal growth book, and I really, really tried to apply it. But I could never seem to get ahead. And it really, really bothered me. And in fact, at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide because I was so depressed and frustrated. And at the very last moment, my life was spared. And I didn't know why, but I decided to devote the rest of my life to serving God and serving humanity as best I could while I was still here on the earth. But I still didn't know why I was here on the earth. So I went on another long journey, a spiritual journey, more of an inner journey. And I started studying the world's, spiritual leaders and thinkers of our time, Dr. Ernest Holmes, Marianne Williamson, Louise Hay, Deepak Chopra, and people like that. And so that's really what enabled me to put this system together, Jeff, this power habit system, that we teach at Freedom Lifestyle Experience, but, in the book and in the live events and in my coaching and training and keynote speeches. And so that's the point is I think that's what makes it different is because I'm such a nerd. I couldn't handle the cliches. I just couldn't be another one of those just say the same thing that everybody else does. I couldn't do it. And so I think that's why, because I kept digging and digging and digging until I found the answer. And then when I found the answer, it not only explained my whole life, but has helped tens of thousands of people over the last 20 years. So I think that's one of the things that makes it different.
This is excellent, because this is why motivation doesn't work, It's like a hot shower. It's great while you're in it. And then as soon as you step out, you cool off, right? And you go back to what you were before.
That's right. And that goes back to my earlier point of we don't rise to the level of our goals, we sink to the level of our system. So motivation would be like, hey, I'm going to get excited and I'm going to psych myself up. Again, it's not wrong. It's not wrong to have goals. You want goals, right? But, as Ray Higdon, as you and, so many of the other leaders that I talk to say, you have to do the things that you don't want to do. You're not motivated necessarily to make that call, but it's having the systems in place, both again, when you work with me, you're going to have the inner game systems and the outer game systems. So I know everybody watching this program and listening to this interview has already done a lot of work on themselves, both probably on the inner as well as the outer game, the marketing stuff. But really what we're able to do, sometimes it's just that little tweak, and we've heard this before, and big doors swing on small hinges. And sometimes just that little distinction can make a huge difference for you.
Okay, so people, again, I'll repeat this. You can get up to $299 in free gifts when you order your new book, Power Habits. Go to powerhabitsbook.com and you're getting 2 free tickets to this incredible event in April that Noah's doing. And also, to learn more about your live events and programs, go to noahstjohn.com.
That's my name.
That's Noah, that's StJohn.com.
You got it.
Not the saint. There's not a halo above his head. It's Noah, noahstjohn.com. But we think he is, he's awesome. He is totally awesome. Well, wow. Thanks for being on tonight.
Absolutely. And, if people have questions, they can hit me up on Facebook here, and I'll dive into the chat here as we're wrapping up, and I'll be happy to answer people's questions. And anyway, it's just such an honor, Jeff, and I do appreciate your support, and it just means the world to me. And I definitely want to help your people in any way that I can, and it's just a thrill to be here with you again.
Wow. Thank you again, everyone. Aren't we so happy that he joined us tonight? Totally awesome. Thanks again, Noah, again, and again, Power Habits, that's it. The new book. I think it's great. I just love it. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight. And Noah, thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Everyone, good night. Bye-bye.